What up, you guys? It's your boy the Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 68. Now, the cover page for this chapter, there's an interesting revelation, and that's, the people who are cooking Richie and the rest of his crew, they've actually found Buggy the Clown's parts. So, this is how Buggy's gonna get his parts back. This is gonna be pretty cool, man, and I'm really wondering, is that woman that Buggy's walking with, or traveling with, if you will, is she gonna be, a total badass herself? Let me know, guys, because obviously Buggy's infatuated with her, because in some of the other chapters, you got the hearts kind of coming out of his eyes, so you know that he's, really taken by her. So getting into this chapter, I was right. This was very emotional and very fitting, because this is easily the most emotional arc that I've read in One Piece, period. And I really like how every arc, when it progresses, it really feels like, Oda's ramping up the emotion and the tension. And I guess, you could call it like the feels radar, right? I think the feels on this point, they're about 8 or 9. This was pretty good, man. I thought that this was very well written, very well done, and just the use of flashbacks in this chapter, where we get to see Sanji and Zeph actually start up Zeph's restaurant and find out how Zeph sunk his entire fortune into it and still had to make payments on it, which is probably why Sanji got so upset when the ship was being wrecked. So, I mean, this was very nice, man. Like, just to see the build up to Sanji kneeling on the ground, crying, thanking Zeph for everything he's done. Like I said, we get to see it step by step as more people get brought on. And I thought that it was very interesting that Sanji was the first person who was there with Zeph on when he came to start his business. So this was cool, man. So in a way, the crap geezer, if you will, Zeph was actually like Sanji's father, maybe even his grandfather, Like, I personally, I don't know what that relationship is like, but what I can tell you is that, I've romanticized the idea of what it's like to have father and grandfather and all the other stuff, right? And I would want Zeph to be that person I looked up to, So for me, that's actually the type of person I would want to be, if and when I have kids. I want to be that type of father where, I'm hard on the kids, but at the same time, I'm very rewarding, and, they know it's coming from a great place, because if you look at it, Zeph, he's saying like, hey, I never really cared for kids, but I don't regret, not a day goes by I don't regret saving you. And it just really speaks to the bond that those two share. And I thought that that was very cool, because I think that for Zeph, given how far away he was away from Sanji, that it was really difficult for him to, part ways with him, because Sanji would have stayed there as long as possible, and even Luffy says, you're not going to leave without saying goodbye. And it's only when Zeph calls out to him, right, that he gets worked up. Like, you see this reaction here at the end when he says goodbye, crap geezer. But right there, he's turning around. I mean, that was a very beautiful thing, because if you'll just kind of go back and look at it, Sanji walks out very determined. And anybody who's ever had to say goodbye to people they care about, particularly men, you take this stance where you try to bury your emotions. And that's exactly what Sanji's doing right here, because it's not goodbye if you don't, verbally say it, if you don't acknowledge it, even if it's understood you never see each other again. But you see him starting to get worked up, and right here, that's when the waterworks really start coming. Because that's the thing about men, most men, we don't share our emotions, like, we don't wear them on our sleeves. You might know where we feel and how we stand on we might know how we feel and where we stand on a particular subject, but most men, we're taught not to display emotions like that. And I can't speak for all men, I can speak for myself. Like for me, you know, I don't broadcast my emotions like that because it's a survival mechanism. And for a guy like Sanji to break down like that, I think that really symbolizes that when a man reaches that point, everything comes out. And I knew this was coming just based on the fact that you had all these flashbacks further cementing how strong that bond is. And I'm really wondering because Sanji is joining Luffy's crew and they're going towards the Grand Line, and Luffy it wants to be king of the pirates and Sanji wants to see the all blue sea, and Zeph and his crew, they're a pirate restaurant, you know. I'm wondering, are they going to go to the Grand Line? Because Zeph does have that book, and to my knowledge Luffy has not been given it yet, so Zeph has basically a charted out course. So what's to say these two don't meet again? If they never meet again, it's similar to what I said in my Boruto Naruto the movie review. If Boruto ended up being the very ending for the Naruto series, I would be absolutely happy with it. Obviously that's not the case, but if it ended like that, I'd be fine because it had that riding off into the sunset type feel. And that's why I get right here when I look at Sanji and Zeph kind of parting ways. It's riding off into the sunset. Very beautiful, beautifully done. This was very good. Now that that's out of the way, I want to backtrack and I want to go back to the revelation that we have. Apparently Luffy now knows where Nami is headed, because the guys from Zoro's past, you know, one of them, he shows back up and he tells Luffy like, look man, you know, you won't believe where Sister Nami is headed. She's headed to that place. And he never clarifies where that place is, but right there it's just like, this is a setup. Even though it's a closing chapter, it's a setup chapter as well. And I'm really wondering, what the hell did Nami get herself into? Where is she headed? And the first place to my head is she went back home, because when she joined Luffy and the others, she said, I'll only stay with you long enough to get enough berries, and when I get the money I need, I'm leaving. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Nami went back home, and I know that her home, it has something to do with pirates. So this is going to be really interesting, because if Nami did go back home and she has to face her demons with pirates, and then she has good memories with being part of Luffy's crew, even though it was short term, this, I think the emotion is going to go even further up, similar to how it did on this arc, because like I told you guys before, it's internal conflict clashing with external conflict, and it raises the stakes. So whatever Nami is struggling with, I'm really expecting this next arc hopefully to be, you know, very Nami centered, man. But those are just my thoughts. My chapter question for you guys is, what did you think about the way that Zeph and the different crew members said goodbye to Sanji? What were your thoughts on that? You know, for me, this was probably one of the more heartwarming goodbyes in anime and manga that I've ever seen. So those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you liked anything I had to say, as always, comment, rate, subscribe, and share. I'll greatly appreciate it. That's it. Thanks for watching, Kryptonians.